Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Chilltown Hoops. I'm your host, Jermaine. The youngsters call me OG. My friends call me J-Dub. Let's get to it. I remember watching the 1996 NBA Finals between the Bulls and the Supersonics, and they were down 3-0. Seattle was down 3-0, and George Karl, right before the game, says to his crew, "This is a great opportunity, guys, for us to show what we're made of." And George Karl was a coach who still had the pulse of his group. They still were with him, and they still played for him. I say that to say this group last night in Miami, that Boston Celtic group, they looked like they played for each other. They looked like they had decided, we're not going out like that. We're better than this. That's not to say that we're going to win the series or we're going to win the NBA championship, but we're better than getting mocked out of the playoffs. We're better than that. And we're going to prove that we're better than that. Now, when you're a long ball shooting team like the Boston Celtics are, it could go one of two ways. You live by the three, you die by the three. Correct. But when it's working, you look fantastic. But when it's not working, forget it. You have no shot because there's nothing else going on. And that's who the Boston Celtics are. They are a long ball shooting team. Everything is either at the long ball line, primarily at the long ball line, or at the rim. Last night, they had 11 shots. Of their 84 shots that they took, 11 of them were outside the paint and inside the long ball line. That means that they are living at the long ball line and living at the rim. And when there is no in-between, you don't manipulate the defense. You can't manipulate the defense. Even if you are spread out, you can't manipulate the defense because everybody's standing around the long ball line, which is what the Boston Celtics do. They get some action off the basketball from time to time, but for the most part, they got guys standing around watching other guys operate. That's the difference between them and the Denver Nuggets. Like when Joker gets the basketball, there's a lot of action going on. There's nobody standing around. Everybody is moving, 100%. And if you notice, we talk primarily, when we talk about the Boston Celtics, we talk primarily about their offense. And we talk about how good Jason Tatum is, right? We talk about how good Jaylen Brown is. We talk about how good that offense overall can be from time to time. We very rarely talk about their defense, even though they had a top 5 defense this regular season. They had a top 5 defense this regular season. However, they're giving up 121 points a game in this series. 121. They gave up 111 points during the regular season. And by the way, this Miami team was at the bottom of the league in offense, in pace, in three-point shooting. At the bottom of the league in all of those things. And in the last 3 games, they clearly dominated the Boston Celtics. Dominated them. I thought Spo had done a good job in manipulating mismatches where he would get Jaylen Brown switched on to Bam, and Bam would just go after him. That didn't happen last night, though. That didn't happen last night. I thought, which is kind of ironic because he hadn't been doing a good job, I thought Coach Mazzulla did a good job of adjusting. And what did he adjust to? Coach Spoelstra manipulated their defense by getting Jimmy Butler in switches with Robert Williams. Trying to get Robert Williams out on the perimeter to take him to the basket or to go after him. And that didn't work. Because Robert Williams laterally is really good. Straight line, he's really good. Athletically, he's really good. I thought Boston did a really good job at that. They didn't win the rebound battle. And the reason why they didn't win the rebound battle is, number one, they shoot the long ball. So they don't offensive rebound. And defensively, in terms of defensive rebounding, I mean, they gang rebound, but they don't gang rebound like Denver does. They don't gang rebound like the better rebounding teams in the league. No, they don't do that. And that could be to their demise. Very well could be to their demise, because what they've now done is they've extended the series. But with them extending the series, they've also exposed a lot of weaknesses in their game. But that fight that I was looking for was there. That fight was there. I wanted to see a team that was not going to go out like that. What I had seen in Game 3, where they got completely annihilated, and I didn't think that they were going back to Boston. I thought this series was over. I thought the series was over coming down to Miami. I didn't think that they were going back up to Boston. I thought the series was over. And after what happened in Game 3, I was convinced. I'm thinking there's no way that they're going back up to Boston. But the fight that I saw, which was the most important part here, is what gave them life. You know, Grant Williams coming off the bench and giving them big minutes. And he looks like the one who implements the fight. He looks like the one that's they're getting behind in terms, because he's gonna fight. He might get his ass kicked, but he's gonna fight. And if you got a guy like that on your crew, I'm gonna fight with you. Even if we lose, that energy, that heart, I'm gonna fight with you. So the thing that I wanted to see from the Boston Celtics last night, I saw it. A guy in Derek White who came off the bench and gave them some, I'm sorry, not came off the bench. A guy in Derek White who, in the starting rotation, gave them some good minutes defensively. So he leads all guards in the league in block shots. Leads all guards in the league in block shots. And he did a great job recovering, closing out. I mean, he had that big block on Duncan Robinson, who they did a good job on yesterday. He went 0 for 4 on the long ball. I thought they did a good job in closing out on him, getting around screens, making him a dribbler, because that's not who he is. He's a long ball shooter. That's his game. He's a long ball shooter. Jaylen Brown, for all intents and purposes, has to be better offensively. I think he's 3 for 25 on the long ball. And the reason why I'm bringing up the long ball with the Boston Celtics is because this is who they are. They're a long ball shooting team. Like I just mentioned, 11 shots in between, which means they don't do anything in between. It's at the long ball line or it's at the rim. So if we're going to be at the long ball line, you have to convert. You have to convert. Now, I will tell you this. This thing could get interesting if Boston wins Game 5. This thing could get real interesting. So if Miami's going to end this thing, which I think that all Boston did was delay the inevitable, if Miami's going to win this thing, I think that they need to end it really soon. Because a team like Boston, you don't want to give them any momentum. Because they're not dead yet. It doesn't look like they're dead. It looked like they were dead, but it doesn't look like they are now. There's still some life there. And since we're on the subject of life, LeBron James said he's got a lot to think about. And I think that there are a lot of people who are critical of him. I'm one of those people, and I'm a James guy, and I'm critical of him. But I think that people are looking at this from the wrong lens. What I mean when I say that is, instead of being critical of him in that aspect, well, he took away the spotlight from instead of understanding where he's coming from. He didn't say I'm retiring. He said, I got a lot to think about. Well, when you say you got a lot to think about, James, what do you have to think about? Well, let's discuss that. So I've been in the league 20 years. In the 20 years I've been in the league, I've missed the playoffs 4 times. That means 16 out of the 20 years I've been in the league, I've been in the playoffs. That's 80% of the time that I've been in the playoffs. My team has been in the conference championship 12 times. That's 60% of my career. And in the 12 times that I've been to the conference championship, we've won the conference championship 10 times. That's 80% of the time. My team has been in the NBA Finals 10 times. That's 50% of my career. And we've won it 40% of my career. I say all of that to say, yo, man, this is hard. It's hard to keep playing at this level and to continue to do what I do for years and years. And now I'm at an advanced age where I don't have what I used to have. And the standard has already been set for me. This is who I am. 80% of the time my team is in the playoffs. That means 4 out of every 5 years I'm in the playoffs. For every 1 year I missed the playoffs, I'm in the playoffs 4 years. I'm in the conference championship 12 times in 20 years. That means three out of every 5 years, 3 of them years, my team is in the conference championship. Winning it 10 times. That's 80% of the time we win the conference championship. That's 4 out of 5. So every conference championship I'm in, I'm winning 4 out of every 5. That's pretty impressive, man. But again, this is hard. This is hard work. And at the advanced age that I am right now, to have to still play and take teams deep into the playoffs like this, I'm not sure that I can still do it. I'm not sure that I can still do it. Now, on the flip side to that, as in the words of James, I'm still better than 90% of the guys in the game. That means that for every 10 guys, I'm better than 9 of them. Which is true. I'm not washed. You know, I did average 30 a game, so I still got the goods. So when you hear him say, I got a lot to think about, you know, I got to think about my son. The idea that, you know, I want to play with my boy. Does my boy want to play with me? Is he looking at me like, you know, Dad, it's bad enough that my name is Bronny James, and now I got to get on the court with you too? I gotta. It's enough that you're my dad. That's enough, and I gotta live up to that. Just the fact that you're my dad. People are gonna expect me to be as good as you are, which odds are I'm probably never gonna be that good. But now on top of that, you want to play with me too? I don't know how I feel about that. On the surface, it sounds great, but ultimately, is that something that I really want to do? I'm not saying no. It's just something to think about. So these are all the things that James has to think about. He's not saying, yo, man, I'm retiring. Because I can tell you right now, that wound is still fresh. It's healing. The summer goes by, that itch starts to come back. I still got the goods. Training camp is coming up. I still got the goods, man. He's not retiring, but it is something to think about. Because again, how long I've been doing this. At the level that I've been playing. How awesome I've been. I'm still an all-pro. I made the all-pro team in year 20. In year 20, I made the all-pro team. You know how many guys have made the all-pro team in year 20? These many. That's how many guys have made the all-pro team in year 20. I'm the only one to do that. So, the idea of me just coming up here and saying, I want to retire. I think that's what people hear when they hear him say, instead of, I got a lot to think about. And not respecting that there is a lot to think about here. Automatically, it's he's taking away the spotlight of this guy, or he's running from the game. When in reality, hey man, I've been doing this for a long time, and there's a certain standard that I've set, not just for myself, but a certain standard that's been set for me throughout the league. I mean, I've mentioned this in the past. There's a generation of kids that don't know the NBA Finals without LeBron James. There's an entire generation of kids that don't know what the NBA Finals look like without him. So, with that being said, can I still continue to play at this level? And for how long? I'm not just going to stick around just to stick around. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not just going to be here just because I'm still good and I can still play. No, I'm not doing that. If I'm going to be here, I'm going to play at that level. I want to compete for the NBA championship. Otherwise, what's the point? And the reason why that is important to mention is because that's what he's been doing throughout the course of his career. I mean, a dude been in the NBA Finals every other year of his career. I mean, that's the standard that's been set for him. That's the standard that he set. So that's the lens that I look at it. That's the way that I look at it, and I understand it. But this is where we are, guys. It's the playoffs, and I'm going to be here for it. Boston has extended the series, so I'm here for it. But I'll see you soon, guys. And until then, take it light, but take it.